Hi guys, we're back. But you knew that anyway. You knew that anyway. Without me saying that, you knew that anyway. How are you, brother?
Very good. And they're saying it's us too. Oh, they're back.
Yeah, yeah. Um, right, guys. Thanks for all the feedback on the last podcast. We've had some amazing feedback and some amazing comments. Um, but what's come across our path over the last couple of days is mind blowing beyond words. We are going to take this to the next level. Um, if you don't know what we're talking about or you can't follow, then just go back and look at some of our earlier podcasts. And I don't mean go back months. You only need to go back 2 or 3 weeks and have a look. But what we've got in this one is going to it's going to stimulate some minds. Um, so we're going to get straight into it, guys, because this might actually be a little bit longer than usual. Um, and I'm going to start with a question, something that hit me after we did the last podcast. So, are you lying? Are you lying down, or are you lying to your friends? Interesting that we have the same word. Um, but anyway, we'll come to that. All right. So you'll probably remember this one from um, the last podcast. This statue. Well, what is a statue made from? It's made from stone. And why do we use this word? If you want to indulge in this sort of thing, which is fine, no problem at all. But I'm more interested in the word to get stoned when clearly that's stone. Remember this song, ELO, Turn to Stone? And why is it called rock music? A rock is stone, a large stone. Why is it called rock music? Music, turn to stone, rock music. This is not really what this presentation's about, guys, but I wanted to throw that out there to see what you guys think. Now, we've done a lot of work, Harry, haven't we, on the dog and the God connection.
Yeah. There's definitely a link. And if you haven't seen that one, it's Bark Bark Baby. It's about an hour long. I tell people to watch that if they want to understand how we view the higher self and the avatar. And the dog's name in this movie, it says it all.
Yeah, Toto. And why did they use a dog to reveal the wizard? But anyway, Todo is Spanish for the whole bag of tricks. The dog shall reveal the wizard. Well, this might seem like an odd jump from the dog into this, but this is exactly how it all ties in, because you have the quote unquote God figure, and then you have you essentially have us. We've said before that we actually represent the Satan. And don't take that the wrong way, because we're going to explain how it all fits in between these two characters. This character and this character, they are the same. They are one and the same. If you look at his arm, you see the word souls or solve, which is what? You solve a problem. You have a solution. What's a solution? You mix sugar or salt with water, it becomes a salt solution or a sugar solution. And then on this side, you have coagula. And coagula, it turns we get coagulate. If you cut yourself and you're bleeding, what happens? Your blood coagulates and forms a scab. Now, Harry and I have been talking a lot about the incarnation trap. We go into the sun, we go across to the moon, and then we are born upside down into this realm from the moon. And it's interesting that there's this thing, it's a prosthesis. So if you want to pretend you're pregnant and go and scare your mum, then you go and buy one of these things and strap it to you. But the interesting thing is that it's called a moon bump. Why would they call it a moon bump, Harry?
Well, we know that in the time of pregnancy, which is the 40 weeks, it goes through phases, right? There's a beginning and a final phase is the birth. So we know that the moon also phases. It phases from the new moon to the crescent moon, all the way to the quarter moon, and then all the way to the full moon.
Yeah.
And we know that that's when the moon empties and becomes a new moon. That's when most births happen. I'd say, I think I was talking to a nurse just the other day, and she said that most births, a higher percentage, happen during the full moon.
And of course, the other thing is that we know, or we like to believe, to you, all you girls out there, that your menstrual cycle is governed by the moon. So there's that other connection there.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move into this one. Nice to meet you. Now it's so weird that when I went to take a screenshot, I wanted the screenshot of nice to meet you, but as I was watching the video, this is from Kyron Last. It morphed, and when I pasted the screenshot into the presentation, this is what I got. And I thought, wow, I couldn't have actually planned it any better. So nice to meet you. Let's look at the word meet, M-E-A-T. It has eat in it. You go to a meeting, phonetically remove the M and you get eating. Well, interesting that if you remove the M from the word cremation, you actually get creation. Just thought I'd throw that one in there.
And you know what else you got in that picture too? If you take the N out of nice, you get ice to you.
Ice. Yeah, ice. And we spoke about that in a previous podcast about where we are put on ice. We are chilled, Ren. Ren in Chinese means person or people. We are chilled people. And then when we get a job is also called an office. We come off ice. And it's interesting there, Harry, that I just spoke about the letter M, which is the 13th letter of the alphabet. But if you start from the other end of the alphabet with the letter Z, call that number one, then the N is also the 13th letter.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to be talking about the cube, the cross. Don't forget, the cross represents the crucifixion, which they spell with an X, but should be a CT, in my opinion. But the cross is essentially an unfolded cube, which is a box. And ever wondered why the day after Christmas Day is called a box? It's called Boxing Day. Nobody goes boxing on Boxing Day. This is the reference to the positive being the Christ consciousness, and the box is its opposite because we're living in a box. Remember that group from the 80s, Harry, called Living in a Box?
Living in a box, yeah.
Yeah. Now, this gives us the connection to the sport of boxing. Why do they call it a boxing ring when clearly it's not a ring? Well, they're squaring the circle. Now, when we look at the word square, a square can be a boring person. If you borrow some money from someone and they pay it back, you are now square. And of course, a square is drawn using a square, and a circle is drawn using a compass. And we have the G in the middle, which will become very, very important towards the end of this presentation. So just remember the letter G in the middle of squaring the squaring the circle. Now, back to the sport of boxing. What is it representing? Two people getting into a square that they call a ring and beating 7 bells out of each other. What does it represent? I will show you 100% what it represents. Look at the fingers on the right hand. Look at the fingers on the right hand. Look at the fingers. Look at the fingers. That is what is being represented in the boxing I'm just going to call it a ring because that's what its name is. And this is what we do throughout our lives. We are fighting. Let me go all the way back to the beginning. They are the same. They are just different sides to the coin. That's all they are. They're different sides to the coin, and the boxing match, boxing ring is demonstrating the battle between what we call the good and what we call the evil. It's right there in plain sight, guys. What's beyond the veil of uncertainty? Well, what's inside the sphere? The sphere and the cube. We've all seen pictures of these. Harry, you said you live near the Santa Ana one, right?
The Santa Ana one, yeah, it's a like a science museum, so that elementary schools can go to field trips and look at and do some minor experiments that they can observe.
And they even have the audacity to put a dinosaur outside. So global worship. Well, yeah, we know. But what are they worshiping? We've all seen this. I'm just linking it all together. There's our friend Michael Jackson again. Remember from the previous podcast, we looked at the Dangerous album cover. And there he is again with his rings around his face. Here's the cube in this movie called Hellraiser, demon to some, angel to others. There you go again. There's your duality. There's your two guys in the boxing ring. One's a demon, one's an angel. Now this is a quick shot from the Hellraiser, character. Can you see the resemblance?
Hey, they're twins.
Nothing to see here, guys. Okay, so the cross folds up into a cube, which is a hexagon, which is a cube, which is a hexagon, and cube, as you can see in the red one. And when you look at this depiction, you can clearly see he's holding a cube. But if you just pull your head back from the screen just a little bit further, and you will see that what he's holding is a hexagram. Yes, he's holding a cube, but if you look at the brightest part on that corner nearest to you, and back away from that, you can see that he's holding a hexagram. The Borg in Star Trek. I don't know where this is, but it's an Apple store, and it's clearly got a glass cube outside. We're all familiar with Rubik's Cube. Jack in the Box. What do we see here? Well, we've got the cube, we've got the triangle, and we've got the circle, and we've got the Joker. Go back and watch our last couple of podcasts that we've done on the Joker and see how all this fits in, because we are being mocked.
And then one of those videos, it was focused right on the word Jack too. And it identified the lower self, the avatar, as the Jack.
The Jack and Jill. Yeah. Now, I just wanted to throw this one in there because in Hebrew gematria, which or in Hebrew, you read it from right to left. So Yod He Vahe comes to 26 in Hebrew gematria. But if you look at the actual pattern, look at the actual writing, you can see there's the pi symbolism and the 7 symbolism. Pi begotten by 7. Okay. Now, if you're not familiar with Logan's work over on Decode Your Reality, you really should be, guys, because you can't get to this high level of understanding without looking at what he puts together. Because everything in this realm, we've already demonstrated that everything in this realm is based around the number 7. But Logan's gone deeper because it's all based around pi and phi. I'll leave a link to Logan's channel below. He's done an awesome video called Decode Yourself, how to decode yourself. Now, we spoke about this before. Time is an illusion. In this realm of 7, we have 7 different units of time: year, month, week, day, hour, minute, and second. And if anybody out there, especially Lovegood, because Lovegood comes up with some awesome comments, why do you think it's called a second rather than any other name? Why a second when we live in this realm of duality? Now, we all remember this guy. This was his number, 4664. 4 represents the cube, and the 666, as you know, represents this realm. The 666 realm boxed in by the cube. Well, if you add those numbers together, 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 4, it comes to 26. And 26 is the number of the tetragrammaton. Time, I'm not sure if that should say it's in our hands or because we have time on our hands. And you're looking at that guy's left hand. And if you haven't done this to yourself, guys, look at your right hand and you will see this is a 7. Okay. Now, that's a mirror image of a 7. If you look at your right hand, you can find it on your right hand. And then when, as if like you put your hands together, like you're going to pray, for argument's sake, then one is a mirror image of the other. They're an absolute reflection of each other. So number 5 squared is 25 and 3 cubed is 27. Well, what's the importance of 3 and 5? Well, if you're familiar with Fibonacci 1.61, the golden ratio, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5. So they're two very, very important numbers in the golden ratio. 5 squared is 25, 3 cubed is 27, which makes 26, Jehovah, Yahweh, the prisoner. Now, we've already said in previous podcasts that the Jehovah, Yahweh character is also the Jesus, Satan, Lucifer. So, like you said, Harry, could it be us that are actually the quote-unquote prisoners within the cube and the square?
Or maybe he's just trapped in here with us.
Maybe. So you have the 26, which is the tetragrammaton, 26 letters in the alphabet, trapped between the 25 and the 27, the cube and the square, as we showed earlier in the presentation. And of course, you know, this guy is connected to this. And I know there's a couple of you watching this that have an issue with the Mandela effect. Is it real? Again, I don't think it matters. All that matters is that if it matters to you, if it was this was my wake-up call. The VW, the split in the VW logo was my wake-up call, was the beginning of my awakening. So whether or not it's true, it doesn't really matter, but it's got me from there to where I am today, 5 years later. So is it important? Sure, it's important to me. The Bible talks about 1,000 years. We have the 1,000-year reign of Christ, and we have the 1,000-year imprisonment of the Satan. Well, it's interesting that this appears in the Bible at Revelation 20, verse 7. 0 means nothing. So is this moving us from 26 to 27? Are we going to get out of this prison? As I said earlier, we have been mocked since the day we were born. What's a snicker? A snicker is a disrespectful laugh. Which brings us on to the game of life. Spin to win. Well, what happens when we get to the end of this incarnation? We have a funeral. Well, let's look at the word funeral for a minute, shall we? It's an anagram of real fun. And even the word real contains Ra and El. Ra being the sun god, El being the god of the Old Testament. Real fun. Are they having fun with us? Logan's done 3 short videos called God is a Comedian. And I strongly suggest you go and look at them. They're only 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, but they are really, really cool. And he proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that we are being mocked.
And he picks out the best scenes with Carol O'Connor, and now he totally messes up the interpretation of what the Bible says. But it pretty much makes it seem pretty possible.
Definitely, definitely. So somebody sent me to this this guy's channel, John. Oh, sorry, John. Woke Brow. And he's the reason I was sent there was because, hey, Nige, go and look at this dude, because he's into the copy and paste. He gets the copy and paste just the same as Anne-Marie does, Anne-Marie Uber. And he's talking about the world drama stage. As the fictitious Shakespeare said, the world is a stage. We are merely players. We are just actors, which makes it kind of, and this one was a really tricky one for me, guys, and I know it's going to be tricky for you. The amount of hatred that is being focused against this dude and all the others that are involved. I don't need to mention the names, you know who I'm talking about. If they are just actors on the stage, why are we directing our energy, our anger towards the character? You know, if you're a fan of Batman, I mean, you know, the guy that plays the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, would you go and punch Joaquin Phoenix in the face if you saw him in the supermarket because of something that he did that upset you when you watched the Batman movie? You know, this is so important, guys. This is of paramount importance. They want us to direct our energy, especially our negative energy, and we've got to stop doing it. We've got to say, we've got to recognize these people, these entities, as just being an actor on the stage, playing out their role. Our lives are scripted. Logan's proven it. We've proven it. We've demonstrated it. Our lives are scripted. We are living in a movie script, a virtual reality game.
Yeah, Nigel, if they didn't want us to know who these people were, like Bill, if they didn't want us to know him, then we wouldn't know who he is.
Absolutely.
But then we couldn't direct anger towards him for what his inventions and investments are doing and how they're harming people. But they want us to know who it is, so that we can emit these negative emotions, anger and hate, and they relish over it because they eat it up. It's a divine comedy, and we said it in the past. Comedy comes from the Latin word to eat.
Yeah, which goes back to meat, goes back to meeting, and you've just used the word there, emit. The word emit is time. Backwards.
Time anagram, anagram for time.
Well, it's not even an anagram. It's time in reverse. Emit.
Yes.
The mirror image of time. Yeah. So guys, stop giving these entities your energy. Just ignore them. We're on a merry-go-round. We saw it here with the game of life. Spin to win. We're not doing a very good job of winning, are we? Because we're still here. Now, I mentioned earlier the G when we were looking at the square and compass. Let's remove the G. If we remove the G from the word rain, we get rain. Rains. We get rain. We've spoken about the dog and the avatar, the high soul, the dog, and there's just another example of rains. They're all rains. R-E-I-N. Now, let's pause for a minute. Why have we never noticed before, or maybe some of you have, that the pause button is a number 11? We spoke about the number 11 so many times. The what's going on now was declared on March 11, 3/11. We know what happened 20 years ago, what date it was. Why is 11 so important? Well, this is where we're gonna go high level. This is high level shit, guys. Before, let's just say 21 years ago, represents 11, which represents, as we said earlier, go back to the boxing match, go back to the good and the bad, right there. St. John the Baptist and St. John the Evangelist, maybe. The tower stood 110 stories high. Well, there's another connection to 11. In antiquity, leaders and gods lived in the north. I want to say thanks to Paul from What the Flock TV for this video that he put up. I was actually making this presentation yesterday, and Paul puts up this short video that just fits right in with what I was putting together. So I'm watching that and I'm going, wow, the synchronicity was off the charts. So in antiquity, leaders and gods lived in the north, so we're told. So you would look up, symbolically, you would look up to the north. It was number 11. So look, let's not get into any arguments, guys. No comments, please. We know we're not stupid. We know the what really happened, but it's just interesting that the usage here of 11. And they tell us that there was 11 people. They also say 92 were died, and again 9 plus 2 is 11. AA is 11, which brings us on to a podcast that we did a few weeks ago now, where we talked about 1111, how the 11 has actually affected me personally and all my life. And why do so many people say that they look at the clock and it's always something 11 minutes past, or it's 101 or whatever? And you keep seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, Harry, right?
Yeah, that's what I always see. I see it almost twice a day.
Yeah. Wow. And that 1, 2, 3, 4 adds up to 10, and 10, 1 plus 0 is 1, so that gives you half of 11. I decided to have a look and see which sports teams have 11 players, and this, I only did this, guys, because we were connected to the boxing being a sport. And oh look, the most famous or most popular games throughout the world, hockey, British soccer, American football, cricket, all have 11 players on each side. I haven't looked at what bandy is, and please don't tell me. I'm not really interested, but I've got no idea what it is. But anyway, the most popular sports in the world have 11 players on each side. Now, I'm hopefully going to be getting together with Logan sometime this week and having a chat with him, because he's just done a fantastic, and I mean fantastic, breakdown on Prison Planet. Now, Logan thinks that we're stuck here, and I mean that Harry and I we don't think that at all. We think that we can get out. But what if we're both right? What if Logan's right and Harry and I are right? In other words, we are stuck here, but we can get out. And it brought me to this, and this is just a question. And this is, again, I want we really, really appreciate your feedback on this what if question. If we live to be they say in the Bible, we're going back to this. Let me just scoot back up here to the 1,000-year reign. The 1,000-year reign of Christ and the 1,000-year imprisonment of the Satan. So if we are both, what if? If we have to live 1,000 years in this prison, and in each carnation we live to be 80. Now I know the Bible says 80 years and 10. My dad's mum, my grandmother, she died when she was 90. Both my parents are 86. So I don't think it's I think 80 is quite a conservative number. But how many incarnations would we have to have in order to live for 1,000 years? Well, if we divide 1,000 by 80 years, we get 11 incarnations, and that's 11.11111 just reoccurring forever. Now, what I want you to just notice for a minute, we know that in gematria, zeros mean nothing. So we have the 1 representing the 1,000 years, and we have 11 incarnations. So essentially, we've got 3 1s, right? We know that 1,000 years and 11 days was added to the Gregorian calendar. People who went to sleep on October the 4th, 592, woke up on October the 15th, 1592. Well, here's where it gets really interesting.
Just pause, Nigel. The problem is it would be 1,000 divided by 90 to get you the 11111.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But it just means that some people are going to live longer, and then others are going to be shorter, and you may just come back more than 11 times, or your lifespan must be greater.
Yeah,
so.
And that could also have something to do with. I mean, you know, we could expand on this exponentially, but I really want to put this idea out and see what comments we get. If you think about committing suicide, right? If you've got to you've got 1,000-year prison sentence. Let's just supposing that Logan's right. This is a prison planet, and we all have been given 1,000-year sentence. So you're right. The idea, and don't forget, we're all told take care of your body, live healthy, live a long life. If we have to serve 1,000 years, then anybody committing suicide, you're just going to come back because you've still got to serve your 1,000 years. That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to look at George Washington. Now, it says that George Washington was born on February the 11th, right, 1731, according to the then used Julian calendar. But in 1752, Britain and all the colonies adopted the Gregorian calendar, which has been altered by 1,000 years and 11 days. And they moved Washington's birthday a year and 11 days to February 22, 1732 from 1731. Now, why would they move it a year? I mean, I've always wondered what the 11 days was. But again, 1 year and 11 days. Well, here we have a 1 year. I know it says 1,000, but forget the 3 noughts for a minute. 1 year and 11 days. George Washington, the 9th president. There were 8 presidents before George Washington. So why are we told that George was the first? And I found this. There were 14 presidents before George Washington. Now, none of us here are naive enough to think for 1 minute that any of this is true, because we know we live in a copy and pasted realm, and we know that history is just complete nonsense. But, here they're saying 8 and here they're saying 14. And of course, on the monument, and look at what they've done, guys. They don't even say first president and, what's more important? What's more important to them? And that leads us back, all the way back to where we came in with squaring the circle. Look up squaring the circle and see what it means. That means to you. So what do you think, bro?
I think you put a lot of good things together, and I can tell you one. The reason I had to bring up that number in the calculation is because I know everyone's gonna say, "Oh, hey, it should have been 90," and I just want to get past that. I don't want the comments to flow through and say that. But one thing you did ask: why is the second called the second?
Yeah.
And if I go back to my Greek. The minute is called a lepto, all right? That's 1 minute. But the second is called a defterolepto, which means a second, the second one. So I guess if you're looking at the clock, if you do a digital readout, you have the minutes, then you have the seconds. It's the second in order, not the first, but the second.
Yeah, that was my mistake, by the way, guys. So just double checked it. That slide should have said 90 years, not 80 years. 80 years will be 12.5 incarnation. So if we live to be 90,
and that still could be how many we have, because when we calculate the average age of a person's life, we have to take into consideration the young people who die, like in war times. Disease, things like that. So maybe we do usually all live into our 80s and 90s, and we don't know it.
Well, what we see there is if we look to be 90. Remember, we talked about we did the 7, 8, 9. 7 being this realm, 8 being the reincarnation, and we need to get to 9. 9 is also an inverted 6, and we live in the 666 realm. So it's interesting that 1,000 years divided by 90 does come out to 11.111111 recurring.
Yeah.
So I know we're onto something with this, guys. And I'm talking to everybody watching this now. I know we're onto something. But what do you see? What are your thoughts? You know, put them in the comments. Write them in the comments. But you know, don't. Oh, you got that bit wrong, or you got that bit wrong. We don't want any silliness, and we don't normally get silliness from you guys. So, just tell us what you think. You know, go back and watch the whole thing again. I spent 8 hours yesterday putting that podcast together, as well as you know, researching stuff to try and back up what I was wanted to present. And thanks to Paul, thanks to John, thanks to Logan, thanks to Kyron Last for helping me put all this stuff together. So because you know, this is not my channel or mine and Harry's channel. This is our channel. We are all we're all part of this. So please, guys, let us know what you think. Things should be pretty much back to normal with regards to the timing of the podcast. Harry's a day behind me. It's right now as we're recording this, it's noon on Sunday, which means it's 9 p.m. Harry's time Saturday. So due to my new teaching schedule, it's going to be Harry's Wednesday night, my Thursday morning, and then Harry's Saturday night, my Sunday morning, as we go over the next few months. So that's going to be what we're doing. Thanks to all the new subscribers. Thanks to everybody for subscribing, and welcome to all the new subscribers. Let's just keep on keeping on. And guys, try and remember what I said about that particular person just playing his part, playing his role. We find ourselves being sucked in to this negativity, and right now we look outside, we don't see anything positive going on with respect to the narrative. But you know, you've got to get dirty before you're going to have a wash, right? You've got to take the rough with the smooth, the good with the bad. So seriously, try and understand that we're batteries. We're having our energy sucked out of us. They are leeches. Don't give them the energy. Remember, they are only playing their part.
Yeah, and that's what they want to do. Like I said, if they didn't want us to be energized, they wouldn't let us know who to focus on.
That's right. Yeah.
Whether it's our idiot prime minister, our stupid president, whatever mayor, public official, even the guy who cuts you off on the street driving your car, or the guy who slams into you at a red light.
Yeah.
We have to just let those things go, because if we hold on to them and have anger, we're just feeding the beast.
We've got to grow up. We've got to grow up, and we've got to take ourselves to the next level. I mean, everybody, or every single subscriber on this channel is not here by accident. None of you are here by accident, right? You are all Jedis. You all understand what the kind of stuff that we're talking about. It's getting harder and harder for us to keep going up the ladder and presenting more and more powerful information. But you know, as I'm saying that, we get more and more powerful information. It's given to us by the handler. It's like, oh wow, you've got that, now you're going to do this. We're going, just a bit of a snippet of something that we're working on. Fish. Now, you know that the biblical Jesus character is represented by the fish, which is the Vesica Pisces, which is the yin yang, which all connects with the negative and the positive. And why do we say someone is standoffish? Oh, she was very standoffish. Break that down. Stand of fish. You go to a fruit stall. What's a stand? A stand is a stall. go to the market and you can buy some fish from the fish stall, the stand of fish. And there's a load more connections that Kim from the Bard channel has thrown at us. So we're gonna be working on this fish symbolism and see what you think of that. But for now, guys, we'll let you go. Thanks for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Much love to you all. Bye for now.
All right, take care. Take care.